You're now listening to Mark Who 42 from the WHOniverse and Beyond.
Greetings, fans of Doctor Who podcasts. We have an important message
that we'd like to share with you. We've all been moved by recent events.
The survivors at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School are using their voices
to speak out for those who cannot,
to say never again,
and demand change.
We are asking the Doctor Who community to follow their example and to shine a light on this urgent issue.
This March, representatives of all your favorite Doctor Who podcasts and some special guests will be coming together to do a podcast commentary of a beloved classic series story.
What that story is? Well, that would be telling.
But here's the thing. We're not putting out this podcast on any one show's feed.
We're only releasing it to listeners who provide a donation to an organization committed to ending gun violence.
Here's what you have to do. Make a donation of $10 or more to
March for Our Lives or
the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence,
or Moms Demand Action. These organizations are U.S.-based
and focus on changing American laws and policy.
They welcome international donations.
However, if you live outside the U.S. and want to donate to an organization in your own country,
you can find some suggestions at realitybombpodcast.com/whoagainstguns.
If you send a copy of your receipt to Gallifrey Stands at realitybombpodcast.com, you'll get information on where to download your special commentary podcast later in March.
You can find more details at realitybombpodcast.com/whoagainstguns.
The Doctor has implored us to be kind, and in 2018, amplifying a good cause
is one way that we can be kind to each other and our world.
So let's get involved.
So let's get involved.
And be kind.
Reading is fun, but I know a lot of you out there don't have a lot of time to spare to read. But you do drive your car to go from place to place, and that's why you should get audiobooks. Audiobooks like the ones they have at Audible. Hi, I'm Mark Baumgarten, host of Mark Who 42. If you are interested in reading fiction, non-fiction, Doctor Who titles, Audible has 180,000 titles, actually more than that, for you to choose from to get your reading done in an auditorial fashion. Go to audibletrial.com/markwho42 and get a free month's membership, and there's a special deal right now where you can get 2 free downloads of audiobooks. And you can download any audiobook that's on their site. So go to audibletrial.com/markwho42 and take advantage of this free offer. If you enjoy your audiobook, you can stay with them and only pay $14.95 a month. You'll get another download, and you'll be, again, a member of them, where you'll be able to get low rates on Audible books. So, once again, go to audibletrial.com/markwho42 and read. Or rather, listen. That's a good Doctor Who phrase. Listen.
This is Andrew Cartmel, and it is my master plan to listen to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. We are Doctor Who, the WHOniverse and Beyond, and we are going to talk Doctor Who today. I'm Mark Baumgarten, your host, and with us we also have
Trish Fryer,
Iggy Matthews,
Don Quiros,
Ken Spivey.
All right, we have the whole team on board. Yeah, all 5 of us. And a little bit later, we're going to have the Doctor with us. We're going to well, he's a PhD. Courtland Lewis will be joining us for our discussion on genres, what genres Doctor Who is, and what Doctor Who genre aren't. And that didn't make any sense to you, but it will make sense to you when you listen to that. But you know what? I'm going to push that aside for a moment, because I made no sense. And let's go to... Marku 42 News with anchor person Iggy Matthews. Iggy, what do we have in the world of Marku 42?
Well, Mark, first and foremost, probably the most notably obvious is the new Doctor Who logo. I actually like it. Yeah. It is very... but yeah, according to BBC America's website, BBC America's Doctor Who debuted a new look as 13th Doctor Jodie Whittaker revealed the series' new logo at BBC Worldwide Annual Showcase in Liverpool. Okay, so the iconic trademark for the franchise, the Doctor Who logo is consistent and powerful insignia that is recognized all around the world, and the updated version marks the new era for the series. So... what do you guys think of the new logo? It has a very Torchwood feel to me, almost.
Well,
like,
I love it.
In a way, to me, it's kind of plain. Now, you can understand. It's basically the letters, Doctor Who in a row, and then there's like a line that kind of goes, and it's supposed to be the wake of the TARDIS traveling through the letters Doctor Who. And if you go to marku42.net, you can see a little video of how that works. But, yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of simplistic. It's kind of nice. It's definitely not the DW that turns into a TARDIS that could be used for all sorts of marketing. But it does have a very simplistic, nice feel to it.
Did you hear the controversy over it already?
Of course there's already controversy
Absolutely.
over it.
Well, the biggest thing is that the line that goes through the H and the O and the Who, if you look at it from the side, the O becomes, looks a lot like the feminine sign, the fem sign.
I gotta tell you something. I never noticed that. That did not come into my mind. And the fact that it is there, if that is why they did it, good for them.
I thought that was pretty obvious in the abbreviated version of the logo that's on the official Doctor Who Facebook page. I thought that was even more pronounced there.
Well, when I put together the Marku 42, the Doctor Who radio show logo that I have at the top of the website now with the new logo, the new Doctor Who logo, I did not notice it. I really didn't notice that.
Looks like something that would come out of Doctor Strange.
A little bit, yes, but it's definitely very classy, and I love the intro. Again, you can go to marku42.net and see it's not even, I think it's like not even a 30-second clip.
It's like 12 seconds. It's like 12, 14 seconds.
It's a 12-second, really won't take that much out of your life. Just go on there and click on it, and it's really cool, like really powerful, almost like she's just booking it through time and space on a mission to do something, and then it's just, Doctor Who in the gold letters. And it's just classy and simple, to the point, and still powerful, and just, whoa.
It's a bronze mirror, and I thought the whole thing looked like a bronze mirror to me. So I thought that they did a great job with the logo in keeping with the whole thing of identity being important, and then putting in the subtext of the abbreviated version actually looking like a bronze mirror.
So the question begs to be asked, was this done on purpose or just sheer luck?
I think the answer is yes.
I think now, in hindsight, it was definitely done on purpose. Yeah, so the logo, was that the big news of the week?
For Doctor Who relevancy, absolutely.
Every week, we can only take so many reveals. The logo had so much conversation and controversy around a font that I don't know if we could have handled anything else this week.
But the funny thing was, the logo came out as I was publishing last episode. They always make the announcements after I'm done editing an episode. And so we're like the last podcast to report it the following week or the week after, because the BBC is purposely doing this to us. I know it. Marku 42 is on the BBC's.
Well, let's make up news then.
We'll make up news.
Let's predict next week. I love how Chibnall has cast Davros as
they brought Terry Malloy back.
Yeah, brought
Davros.
back Davros.
Yeah. That's news. Another piece of news: Stephen Moffat is writing an episode for the new series. It's going to be a comedy in the style of coupling. Since there are 4 main characters of the show, you need to have 2 other guest stars to make the 6, and that's the one that Terry Malloy is involved with as Davros, and the other guest actor is Fraser Hines as Jamie. They're coming back for a Stephen Moffat great story. It's called Doctor in the House.
In the
I don't want it
house?
to end.
Yeah, he's in the house. Yeah, okay, that was fake news.
It's
really
as
Trump
says, that was fake news. That was fake news. Let's have some real news, Iggy.
Absolutely, by far, the worst news
Worst
ever.
news ever.
Period, ever.
Worst fake news ever. Don't listen.
Bigly.
Bigly. It was bigly. It was huge. It was huge. So, what real news do we have, Iggy?
Well, the next one that I have is Avengers Infinity War that is already conquering the competition. So there's simply no stopping Avengers Infinity War and the momentum behind its pre-release marketing. The Marvel Ensemble movie event that may be scheduled for May 4th release, but it's already breaking all sorts of records on its way to the box office. We here, Mark Who 42, previously reported that Avengers Infinity War closed out 2017 as the most anticipated release of 2018. And this was after the movie broke the record for the most trailer views within a single day of its release. Wow. So Infinity War accumulated 230 million views, blowing past its, I want to say it was like 197 million within a 24-hour period.
Wow.
So I have a question. Do I have to watch because Trish, you said you saw Black Panther. I am going to see Black Panther. I'm probably going to see it this week, but before I see Star Wars, by the way. So I'm probably going to see Black Panther this week. Is this, because you've seen it, is this going to lead in? Is this a lead-in to Infinity Wars? Is there? Don't spoil it, but is there something in it that leads into it so that it's a must?
Maybe kind of, sorta.
Okay, that's
maybe kind of the very post-credit scene, the one at the very end of the credits, kinda.
Okay.
But even if you didn't see that, I don't think it would have any bearing on how much you would enjoy Infinity War.
All right. Okay.
And Black Panther is pretty much a standalone movie, and it's amazing.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh, wait, I get to talk?
Yeah,
I get to talk?
You get
What?
to talk. I shut up so you can talk.
Oh my god! I'm so excited! News anchor actually gets to talk. It's so cool. Okay, alright, Avengers is awesome. That is all. I wasn't prepared for this. I had nothing really prepared for this. Just been anticipating it.
Okay, so I have to know, does Claw actually do anything?
Claw stuff.
What? Claw of what?
No,
Claw.
the character Claw, the bad guy. Don't you
Black
read
Panther.
Black Panther comics?
No, I don't read any comics.
But Claw was supposed to be... Claw... Don't
I
say
read
that.
a million Marvel comics, and I haven't seen Black Panther yet.
But you
And
remember the
every
character
week
Claw, don't you?
Of course I do.
With the sound.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
is
he was
Claw
obsessed
in
with
this?
vibranium comics.
Yeah. Is Claw in this movie?
He's in it, but I don't know if he does anything sound-based or anything at all.
Maybe this is before he becomes Claw, and then it'll be in Black Panther 2 where he's the main villain.
Oh man, I'm like having a hard time.
There's different iterations of Claw's origin story, and some of them he had his powers initially, and some of them he got them by accident by being so greedy and wanting the vibranium.
Yeah.
So
I think they'll go with that one. But again, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can give that. And
neither have I.
But I used to love that. Was a great character, Claw. I liked that character before Marvel and DC decided to make comic books inaccessible to anybody who used to read them. There have been so many revamps, so many retconning, and I just can't keep up. So I stopped.
I read Marvel every week, about 15 comics I read a week. For
Okay,
about
so
15
you're in the
years.
all-new Marvel then. All right.
Well, it's not really retconning. All the continuity hasn't changed. It wasn't like the DC New 52, where the backstory still existed. Things didn't... All of these relaunches, nothing changes that much. Just they renumber things to number one and aggravate people who don't read them. Well, like the stories, they're still the same thing that happened right before the relaunch. And then a year happens and Secret Wars and
how do they do
Okay, and then all of a sudden, they're back the next day at the office like, so, what'd you watch Degrassi last night?
No, hold on. That was the case of Secret Wars, the first one, way back in the 80s. But from what I understand, the Secret Wars that just happened changed a heck of a lot.
Kinda, sorta.
It changed a lot, But like it kind of came back together in a weird way without getting rid of the big problems that I actually cared about.
So you care about
basically
the big
gets
problem.
rid of the Ultimate Universe.
All right, maybe one day I'll sit and I'll buy about 1 million comics that I haven't read, and I'll try to catch up. I got too much TV to binge watch, let alone binge read comics at this point.
So, apparently Stephen Moffat recently confessed that he tried really hard to convince David Tennant to stay as the Doctor for a little bit longer. In the alternative version, it would have been Tennant crash landing into Amy Pond's garden and instead of Matt Smith.
Oh.
So Moffat admitted that he rewrote the concept to accommodate the tenured Doctor, but had later changed it back when Tennant made his final decision to depart the show. And he said, quote, because the reality was, I thought it'd be a new Doctor, but David had his momentary wobble before he went to the legendary status and other things. So I reworked it so it could be David, because I have kept him if I could have. But you don't hold the power, Moffat. Okay? So, anyway, let's go ahead and discuss this. Not salty. Anyway, let's go ahead and discuss this.
So we're saying David Tennant and Karen Gillan.
Yes, basically him crash landing into the pond of tiny baby Karen Gillan and reworking that.
Baby?
Tiny baby Karen Gillan, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could see it work.
Absolutely. David Tennant can make anything work. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true.
He can make plaid and stripes work. Okay, I don't understand how. He
looks good in purple.
That way.
He looks good in purple.
He looks very good in purple.
Oh my
Speaking
God,
of, boy, have you seen that trailer for Bad Samaritan? It's scary.
Oh, that looks like it's going to be a good movie. When does that come out? That's coming out really soon, isn't it?
Pretty soon. I think it comes out next month. I think it comes in March.
Wow. David Tennant is the Bad Samaritan.
Could you imagine Karen Gillan and David Tennant like interacting, and then you have Rory in there, and then you have, I
think Rory wouldn't have a chance. I think.
No kidding.
I think Amy would have married the Doctor again.
Well, she. The thing is that there's the whole thing with River song there, which is the Doctor's love and wife and whatever. But honestly, I think that Amy Pond would have just been way too headstrong. And if anything, it's more of. I think I would have seen like David Tennant like being more of that wingman bro, like you can get the girl, especially the Centurion. Comes to mind.
Go, hey, come here, Rory, come here. All right, next thing you're gonna do, go over to her and give her this rose bouquet that I picked from Remnon 7.
So what the bloody hell is that? Slap. Okay, and it doesn't work, but, it's still like...
Iggy, you need to be in the TARDIS. You need to be in the TARDIS.
We're calling Chris Chibnall right now to get you on the TARDIS next season.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's exactly what the TARDIS needs, a fiery Puerto Rican.
I think it does. I do think it does.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, then this is how the world burns down to a crisp. Yay! Moffat won't be able to handle it. He's like, who is this? Your end. But, no, I mean, it's still better than, because if you have to think about it, too, like, including that, I mean, then you would have Tennant and Clara. What?
No.
Oh my God!
No. He wouldn't have. I don't think Tennant and Clara. Even Tennant couldn't handle Clara.
No.
I don't think so.
He would have dropped her in a black hole.
Well, I feel like Amy Pond was like Billy 2.0.
Victoria, she's great in Victoria. She's a great actress. She just didn't mesh well in the show in Doctor Who.
Well, and then on top of that, let's also think about David Tennant also working with Bill. I think that would have been amazing. That would have been cool.
That would work.
Just how easygoing she is, and just like low key, like witty and hilarious. Mm-hmm. She just kind of goes with it, going like, "Okay, this is really, really weird, man. Do you understand how weird this is for me? Okay, cool. We're just gonna keep going with it. This is normal for you. Okay, cool. Just." That girl over there is really hot. Tennant probably would have been like, I agree.
Cool.
Would have been fighting for ladies. But anyways, that's all I have for you, Mark.
All right. This news segment of Mark Who 42 has been sponsored by Cosplay Convention Center. You can find more information by clicking the link on markwho42.net. They are a database for cosplayers, for anyone who works in the convention limelight. If you're looking for us, we're there. They have a database that narrows down where we're going to be. If you're looking for Doctor Who conventions in your area, this is a place to look. If you're looking for certain people going to conventions, you can find them there too. This database is amazing, and it's wonderful to use if you need to find out about your favorite genre, your favorite podcasts, your favorite professional cosplayers. Check out the Cosplay Guide. Again, you can find their link on markwho42.net. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have a great discussion about genres and what genre Doctor Who is and what genre Doctor Who shouldn't be. And we even have special guest Dr. Courtland Lewis, who is the editor of Doctor Who and Philosophy, Bigger on the Inside, editor on More Doctor Who and Philosophy, Regeneration Time, and the author of The Way of the Doctor, Doctor Who's Pocketbook Guide to the Good Life. And if you like other things besides Doctor Who, he edited Futurama and Philosophy, Pizza Paradoxes, and Good News. We'll be right back with this great discussion here on Mark Who 42.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Hey, Iggy.
Yes?
I know that you started watching Doctor Who as a newbie, with the new show, but have you gotten a chance to watch all 7 classic Doctors in action?
I have not.
Well, you can find the most complete collection of Doctor Who ever broadcast in the U.S. on Retro TV.
Shut the front door. Are you serious?
I'm serious, and you don't even need cable for this. This is over-the-air television. You have an HD antenna. You can watch around the country Retro TV. Many of the stories have been remastered and enhanced from their original film and videotape elements, so they come out beautifully perfect in HD.
Mind blown.
It's free. You just have to go to your TV and find Retro TV, and you can watch all the great Doctor Who. They show 2 episodes Monday through Friday, and they show more than that.
I think I shall get my pajamas and my Ben & Jerry's then.
And recently they've added news stories. Not news stories as in like they made new stories, but news stories that they haven't had in rotation, such as several Patrick Troughton tales that weren't on before. They're adding them to them. So there's more to watch because, those new stories became available. Web of Fear and Enemy of the World. So they've added things like that.
Oh my, I'm excited.
So don't forget to go and look for Retro TV and watch Doctor Who. You can go to RetroTV.com and look for their schedule for exactly when Doctor Who is on in your area.
I'm logging in as we speak.
Mark Who 42 is proud to have Famous Faces and Funnies as a sponsor of our show. They have literally tons and tons of comic books, novelties, and everything. They're located off of 3020 New Haven Avenue in West Melbourne. If you want to give them a call, let them Mark Who 42 sent you. You can call them at 321-258-3575. But they are a huge store. I mean, you've seen comic stores, but this one is kind of like the Costco of comic stores. They have tons of merchandise. It's incredible. You can go from one store, then there's another section and another section. They have tons and tons of stuff there for you to buy. If you have any geekdom out there, Famous Faces and Funnies has got it. Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. Rick, the guy who runs it, real great guy. You definitely want to check out Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida.
Hi, this is Anna Van Hoeft, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome back to more of Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me, of course, are Trish Fryer, Ken Spivey, Zion Quiros, and Iggy Matthews. And we are going to be talking about genres and Doctor Who genres to be specific, but first let me let a special guest that we have, a PhD we have to help us along with our discussion, Mr. Courtland Lewis. Hello, Courtland. Or Dr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mark. Court is perfectly fine. So I'm happy to be here. And I have a PhD in philosophy and a minor, or basically a master's in history. And then I've been writing on Doctor Who for, I guess, over a decade now. And happy to be here.
Why don't you tell some of the people what kind of books you have and where they can find them?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have 2 edited collections on Doctor Who, one called Doctor Who in Philosophy, the second one called More Doctor Who in Philosophy. And those can be found at most bookstores and, of course, online. And then I have a book that I wrote the whole thing called Way of the Doctor, and that's Doctor Who's Pocketbook Guide to the Good Life, and that's available online at different retailers, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. And then I have several other edited collections I've done, and then I have some academic writings.
I like the one, I haven't read it, but I like the title of Futurama and Philosophy, Pizza, Paradoxes, and Good News.
Yes.
Sounds good. I'm going to have to read that.
That is.
Oh, wow. It sounds like the nerd raids are going on here. We're getting noise. Wow. Oh, you hear it here on Mark 42. What was that? Did a mountain crash? There was something that just happened. Did anyone hear that, or was it just me?
That was just you, Mark. You've been too many decisions lately.
Mark, did you forget to take your antipsychotics again?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, if you heard something crash, write to Mark at mark42.net and come up with your excuse of what it was, and maybe there'll be a prize in it for you. I don't think it'll really...
Ladies and gentlemen of Mark Who 42, please, I beg of you, do not enable Mark.
Actually, that was another topic for today, was enabling Mark.
Yeah,
we turned that down.
Yeah, we did turn that one down. And just because of that, I'm going to turn this over to Trish. Trish, hi.
Hey. Why are you turning it over to me? What did I do?
Okay. So, I'll take full control. You just enabled me. Thank you very much. All right.
I can enable Iggy if you want. I like enabling Iggy. She's very fun to enable.
And on that note, bye everyone. Have a good day. No, but
after dark. What?
Whoa. Okay. So, today's topic is a topic that Ken actually came up with a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was so good that we should do it. It's basically, what is Doctor Who's genre? What genres fit Doctor Who, and what genre should Doctor Who not be? Is that right, Ken?
More so, what genre is it not?
Is it not?
Because,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, because where does it not go? So where do we place the show on our shelves if we have all our various generic categories? Where do I place it? If I'm looking up on Netflix, it's under science fiction and fantasy. Mm-hmm. Well, is it truly science fiction and fantasy? Is it not just a drama? Is it not a piece on gender? What is it not? So that's why I brought on Mr. Lewis today, Dr. Lewis.
Dr. Lewis, yes.
He had to go to evil philosophy school to be called Mr.
That's right, wizard.
You do propose the interesting argument here because Doctor Who has definitely projected a lot of very relevant problems that you deal with. I can definitely tell you that I would characterize Doctor Who under scary as hell because, I've always been afraid of the dark, and then, of course, leave it to Doctor Who to just make your fear relevant and logical, and just, what was Vashnaruda?
Vashnaruda. So you're saying horror and it does fit in the horror genre, and it fits in the suspense genre.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Weeping Angels itself, my daughter, she considers that a challenge at 7 years of age, that I think I'm ready to watch the Weeping Angel episode. I'm like, I promise you that you are not. You are not. And I'm not ready to deal with you thinking that you got this when you don't. Okay, so it's definitely, there's a lot of things in there that are just absolutely terrifying. And what is it? There was the plot hole under the covers in that one episode. Still pretty upset about that one.
Oh,
it was scary.
You're talking about, was it a child or was it actually...
It was a plot hole. It was a plot hole that was hiding under those covers.
The plot hole.
And it was still terrifying the way that it rose behind them. Yes.
There was many plot holes in that one episode.
Yes, but it was still scary. Like, I'm sorry, you're going to have something rising behind me in the sheets and nobody knows what it is. And we're just okay with it. We're just going to walk out of the room like, we seem to have disturbed something terrifying. Let's just leave. No.
But is it truly a plot hole? Because, I mean, really, if you talk like about Friday the 13th with Jason Voorhees, he dies at the end of 2 and then somehow he's in 3 and then he dies and then somehow he's in 4. And they never explain it.
He's a time lord.
Right, but they don't explain it. That's a plot hole. And
one time he was a paramedic.
And wasn't he didn't he go play hockey in 8? I don't know. He actually used his hockey mask at a skating rink, I think.
No, what it was, I can explain that one perfectly. What it was is that Dr. Courtland created this thing. And then he assumed his alter ego, Mr. Courtland, and created the Jason together. And, some things cannot be revealed that way. If you found out about it, you'd have to die.
Okay, now you're now you're enabling the Doctor. I've been waiting a long time to say that.
Oh, my God.
I've been waiting a long time to be accused of that. Oh, my God, yes.
I've been waiting to enable the Doctor for many years, and now I finally got to do so.
Yeah, he is the Doctor right now.
That's right. That's why I went to school, actually. So.
Just so you can get that title right there.
Guys,
yeah.
The Doctor.
I'd be lying if I didn't just want to slave myself to get a PhD just so I can be called the Doctor, because now she is a female.
Sometimes my students will call me that. They'll say, oh, Doctor Who. I don't know.
Yeah.
Extra credit.
Extra credit, yeah.
I need to attend your class.
If they've read your books, they get an A in the class, basically. So if you ever want to get a good college education, what school do you teach at?
I teach at Owensboro Community College in Owensboro, Kentucky. And so it's a small school, but I came here because I love to teach, and they let me write books and do my Doctor Who stuff without bugging me. So
my kid's about to go to college, by the way. So I don't think he's into philosophy.
It happens. It's more of a gateway drug. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
I think an important something for us to discuss is how are we going to define a genre? And once we do that, we can go forward with the discussion and actually figure out what genre is Doctor Who. So who has a working definition that I'd like to come up with for today for what is a genre?
I think Zion has one.
The main basis of all the episodes. What is the common genre in
No, but we're trying to come up
episode?
with a definition of genre.
Oh, definitely genre. Exactly what I said. Whichever elements are more prominent in the show throughout most of the episodes.
So if something is funny, it would fit in a genre of comedy. But maybe Ken would have an exact definition. Ken?
Well, it's very Aristotelian of us wanting to define things. So to define the world around us is a way to be able to comprehend it and to be able to discuss it. And for us to actually talk about Doctor Who and to talk about the genre, we need to, I think it may be a personal genre for quite a few people. And by that, I mean, what is Doctor Who to you? Genre, you could say, let's use something like the genre spectrum. Let's say that exists. I just made it up.
All right.
I'm sure that someone said it before. There's nothing new under the sun.
No.
But there's comedy. On the other end, there's extreme tragedy. But we've all seen shows that have both comedy and tragedy. We've all seen Gilmore Girls, or most of us.
Not
and
me.
There's comedy.
I can safely say I've never seen Gilmore Girls. I can safely say that.
Well, they created a subgenre for it called a dramedy because it crossed those boundaries.
Nice.
And there's quite a few shows that are dramedies.
Yeah.
And because you can't quite fit it into a genre. And I'm not wanting to give an actual definition. That's why I wanted to hear from other people what was a genre to them, so I could better understand, coming from everyone's perspective, how are they putting Doctor Who into their own personal idea of what genre is.
All right, I'll give you my genre for Doctor Who. I think Doctor Who fits under science fiction. I do think fantasy plays into it because a TARDIS, that's kind of fantasy. But I also think of it as a comedy, as a drama, as an, well, action. I do believe it's horror. There are many things that I would say it. And if you had to narrow it down to one, it's a drama.
So for me, it would have to be in the way that I would describe it to people who do not watch Doctor Who, and they ask me what it is. What's that blue box that I'm wearing? Why do you have a police box on there? Oh, it's the TARDIS. What's the TARDIS? Oh, it's part of this show that I watch. And the way that I typically describe it is it's hilarious. It's a lot of action. There's a lot of... I describe it as almost like a Sherlock Holmes type of vibe in a more sci-fi type of word, because literally it's just the doctor's a detective, we're trying to get to the bottom of this, we're trying to solve something, and we end up solving it, and it's hilarious, right? It's action, sometimes scary, and I don't really like, when I hear sci-fi, I kind of turn my nose up to it because I think Star Trek and sci-fi is just like serious and mysterious and scary immediately when it comes to my head.
I have an answer for that. I think I've come up with a genre title. I've made it up. Holmesian science fiction. That is a good one. What you described is Holmesian science fiction. That would be the genre of Doctor Who. I like that, Iggy. That's good. That's why I have you on the show. For helping me come up with things that you've actually said yourself.
It is I that is being enabled now. It's okay. It's no different than what you do to me when I tell the news, so it's fine.
I think if we summarized Iggy, we could say that the show is a mystery because it's Sherlock Holmes in time and space. So the show's a mystery that has science fiction elements.
Yes.
Or incorrect?
Yeah. Oh, now we're enabling Ken. So, all right, I see what we're doing here. All right.
With several other elements, too. And I think that's where I liked, when I talked to Ken previously, this idea of trying to figure out what it is not. Because, over 50-plus years, they borrowed from every sort of genre just about.
Pretty much.
And so there's some, though, that... it would be interesting if we could find some genres that they've just never borrowed from or that were just so awkward. The first one comes to mind is the country western, where we've seen that happen a few times over the years. But I never, it always feels out of place, right? It's more Star Trek.
Firefly did it.
Firefly did it. But Doctor Who never seems to fit that sort of genre to me.
In the episodes with Doctor Who in the United States, I never knew that we all chewed on straws all the time. And I had no idea this happened in the United States.
Oh, we do. I just don't do it at Time Lord Fest, but I do it everywhere else, Ken.
Could you imagine a British man saying y'all? Are you kidding me right now?
Jolly good show. Jolly good show, y'all.
Cheerio, y'all.
Cheerio, y'all.
Oh, God.
I remember translating Latin, and whenever you have the collective of you all, anytime someone would translate it as y'all, our teacher would both want to come up and hug you and slap you at the same time, because we actually don't have a word for that in our language other than saying all of you or y'all.
Yeah, I tried playing it on Scrabble. Y'all doesn't work. Can't.
Well, because you need the apostrophe in there. But to continue on this topic, I definitely do think that Doctor Who can pull off a Western if they do it a lot, very similar to Firefly, or if they went into a universe that has the Firefly effect to it. I think they totally could pull it off. It's just a matter of how they're dressed and how they are behaving that really dictates whether it's Western or not.
Well, it already has pulled off a Western in The Gunslingers and A Town Called Mercy.
Yeah, but
that's who they
not
did
in
Vikings and
but
stuff.
not in a science fiction. I mean, Earth-based, and with a science fiction element added to it, at least for a town called Mercy. In the Gunfighters, it was just a Western. The Gunslinger was actually a very good episode. Idea of having a song narrating the story, to some people, they thought, okay, that made it a pantomime. But to be honest, it fit, because it did take place in a saloon, parts of the story. The way that people see the Old West in movies back in the 50s and 60s, they always have a singer and a piano player, and so they were kind of using...
No.
Okay, well...
That is the one thing that Doctor Who cannot be, is one of those...
but they did do it. That's how they
freaking
did it.
Sing-along episodes or whatever. Like, everybody just starts singing everything they're doing. I'm sitting, recording a show.
No. It was that, because if I remember correctly, Stephen and Dodo did have to sing, so maybe
they did.
I think they did.
I cannot stand that when a good series decides to go, oh, we're going to have a singing episode. It's just stupid to me. We're going to have instead of having a conversation about what we're doing, let's sing about it. Let's discuss this in song form. Let's not.
No.
Every Disney movie ever.
Narration. It was narration in music. It was the song, The Ballad of the OK Corral, that was played at different points during the show in narration. And then Dodo and Stephen had to sing when they were forced to sing as part of the plot.
No.
What I've learned is that the show is not a musical. That is what I've learned in 25 minutes so far. Is that
it is not a musical. Absolutely not a musical.
Okay, so the genre so we're saying, so that's one of our questions answered. What is Doctor Who not? A musical.
A teen drama?
A teen... Well,
no.
It's been a teen drama, and thank God hopefully it will not be it.
I cannot for my worst to say that. I'm sorry.
Because Zion, you just watched the Peter Davison Adric stories. You just finished watching Adric stories over again. We don't need that angst and stuff in this show anymore, do we?
Well,
we watch Class. We watch Class.
We watch Class.
We don't need that.
And how did that turn out?
It did not.
Nobody watched
awful. It was awful. It was there. It goes on and on and on. No. It stops right now.
Well, there's a strong desire to have more Doctor Who, and spin-off media is very tempting. But other than the Sarah Jane Adventures was the most oddly successful.
Oh, that was so good.
As much as we've had of Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Adventures, if Elizabeth Sladen had not have passed away, it theoretically could have gone on a few more seasons.
That could have gone on and on and on and on, and I would have liked
Mark, I will cut you.
No, but I'm saying I would have liked it if it was Sarah Jane.
Sure, but you also have to take into consideration culture.
What?
Oh, okay. Explain that, Iggy.
You have to take into consideration culture, okay? Because at this point, when you have teen drama, okay, the only thing that really sells for any sort of drama is sex, okay?
Yeah,
that's the one that irritates me more than anything. Yeah, it irritates me more than anything because it takes away from the actual story.
No, it's tanky in the TARDIS. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that did happen once already, or twice.
Well, Amy and Rory had River, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
leave it to the redhead.
Why didn't we have a bunch of kids on spring break in the TARDIS and rebuild Gallifrey that way? That's all it takes.
Oh my God!
Ken, I'll take your resignation letter later on.
No, seriously though, wasn't that a problem with those episodes? I was actually just speaking with my wife about that, and we said, how come they don't just make Time Lords people can reproduce in the TARDIS, and then they could make Gallifrey that way?
A new show, Time Lord Academy.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll work. Won't it, Iggy? Time Lord Academy takes place in the school in the Paradonian school on Gallifrey, and it has all the teenagers.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it'd be instead of Hogwarts, it's you had to come up with a catchy name for the academy.
Yeah.
Time Ward.
Time.
I actually like that. I like this idea a lot, actually.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I actually really like this idea.
Okay.
Yeah, the more you're pitching it, I'm like, oh, this is good.
All right, let me see. Who could be in it? Who could be in it? We'd have to pick some new stars, some up and coming kid stars to be in Time Lord Academy, and they don't have to be British. They can be any nationality. Go, give me some stars.
Oh, who's that guy that did the Majestic Beast?
Fantastic Beast.
Oh, Fantastic Beast. They were really majestic, though.
That was like the Sam's Choice 11th Doctor guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I don't know what his name is.
Because he's finally ginger. Yeah, that's all the doctor wanted. He wanted to be ginger.
And we have Baru. I got it.
I don't know any young actors, actually. I'm sorry.
I don't either, really, because I don't watch films like Twilight or things like that. So I don't know any of these guys. I don't watch
Jennifer
them.
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence could be in it.
Well, she took off acting for a year to fix our democracy, so we can't pick her. I mean, we got to wait a year. I mean, so since that happened, I don't know who else would star in this. I just read that in my news feed today, so that's relevant.
It is relevant. I think the backstory of Time Lord Academy, Barusa is brought back to life, and he is the headmaster of Time Lord Academy. So you have Barusa, and the Doctor does make appearances every once in a while, maybe a couple times a season or a series, and Barusa berates the Doctor in front of all his students, telling them, this is what you should not do. This is who you should not be. And the Doctor saves Barusa's butt a few times when there are some invasions of the school, because the Santarans decide, we tried with the actual planet. I think we couldn't do that, but let's try just a school. So the Santarans come back, and it'll be a fun show. So be looking for that next year, guys, in 2019.
Oh, my God.
Time Lord Academy on CBBC. On CBBC. You'll love it.
Did you guys see Black Panther? Anybody?
Well, see, I haven't seen Star Wars yet, and now you're telling me I have to go see Black Panther. I cannot keep up with this.
The actress that played his sister, Shuri, Letitia Wright, she would be good in this.
Ooh, yes.
She was really, really good in the movie, and she was super smart, and she could totally...
What should her character be? Go for it. We're planning this out. For
Professor.
The next showrunner.
She would be a professor. She would be
professor?
Professor of tech, whatever, tech that they develop. Yeah.
Okay. I like this.
What would be very interesting is at the end of every season, the villain really wasn't Voldemort, it was Rassilon.
It is Rassilon, yeah.
It took them every season to figure that out. Like, oh, no, it's Rassilon again. It's Rassilon. Like, every Harry Potter book, they're shocked that it's Voldemort.
And then Timothy Dalton always shows up in the last episode and spits at everybody.
How rude.
But he's, that's what he did in End of Time. So, let him keep doing that. That's his trademark.
I would want the chubby Rassilon from the Five Doctors.
You want the chubby Rassilon from the Five Doctors. Very good, doctors. You made a good decision. All right.
No, it needs to be set. It needs to be set up like the Wonder Years, where
with narration.
He talks to himself.
Should it be him talking to himself, or should he sing? Because
and while we're at it, let's go ahead and make a soap opera of Doctor Who, Days of Our Time Lords, okay?
Right.
And
oh my
God. A soap opera.
I think we've veered away from our topic.
It's also dubbed in Spanish, okay? ¿Por qué, doctor? ¿Por qué? Telenovela?
Have we drifted away from the topic? Like the sheer fact that we can imagine all of these other genres and subworlds and ideas, and they fit well into the Doctor Who universe. Doesn't that fit with the idea that Doctor Who there is no genre that is not Doctor Who? We can make a teen, we can make a horror, we can make a mystery, and we just had this fun brainstorm about that.
And if we can have a telenovela, that means that we can have the sex in Doctor Who.
And Selma Hayek.
And Selma Hayek, definitely.
Oh my
Hayek.
God!
She is a recurring
this is how you get the second wilderness years.
No, if you really want to incorporate the sex into Doctor Who, let's go ahead and do it right. Since they are in London and doing all this stuff, let's incorporate MI6 into this, okay? Because nothing is better and sexier than secret spy agents
so Daniel
and
Craig will
Time
make an
Lords.
appearance on the show and.
That was
Okay.
the correction. But like, let's do this. Like, do that correctly. Let's include spies. I just wasn't expecting someone to go in that direction.
Spies like us, I'll tell you that.
Well, if you include spies, because think about it, okay? Wouldn't it be just like MI6 to have this secret, top secret program that deals with the Time Lord and the aliens? I mean, Area 51 right here, everybody and their mom talks about, they got aliens in there. Well, what if they did? What if they were Time Lords?
Well, aren't there time agents?
Torchwood.
Aren't there time agents?
Time agents, special time agents.
Time agents. Torchwood would fit there. And then even Gallifrey had the Celestial Intervention Agency, so they had spies. So there have been spies. This is genre on Doctor Who.
We nearly had the Unit spinoff, and we could have had the spy show. We almost got it.
Is Doctor Who a slasher genre? I don't think so.
Slasher genre. Well, I mean...
yes.
Yes.
And get that grindhouse commentary going, coming soon this summer.
I want to say The Planet of Evil.
Planet of Evil, okay. Well, that was more of a Jekyll and Hyde, which is a slasher. You win! Yay! Zion wins the championship on this one. Congratulations, Zion. You've just done it.
Thank you.
Could it be an American situation comedy? Could you do that? Does that count as a genre?
It
Like
is a
Full
genre.
TARDIS?
An American sitcom would be a genre. Would that be a Doctor Who genre? Has there been a Doctor Who episode that has taken the format of a sitcom?
No.
Because it has taken the form of a Britcom, because Danny Pink and Clara, every time they talked and bickered, it sounded like Stephen Moffat was writing for coupling. So
also, what about that episode with the little cubes?
Power of Three.
Power of Three.
Yeah.
That was pretty situational comedy type of thing. Rory in his underwear and them trying to get along with Doctor as their roommate. It's kind of
that was an American sitcom. You win that one. Congratulations.
Yeah, the only thing that was missing was the audience laughing in the background.
Exactly, just a laugh track.
What I found it fascinating what you just said about Stephen Moffat writing for coupling in Doctor Who, and how infrequently we heard the type of cadence and banter that we heard on coupling on Doctor Who, especially since he seemed to have cut his teeth on that, quite literally.
I agree.
So would the show have been better with that type of quick wit and fast banter, as opposed to, well, there's been some sluggish episodes. Do you think we could have seen, could he have brought in, remember Coupling was the story of he and his wife meeting as they wrote on a series. Mm-hmm. Well, if he brought in some of his personal life in Doctor Who, do you think that could have inspired that type of banter? Does that only come out of Moffat when speaking about himself?
Like I said, the Danny Pink relationship with Clara definitely has some of that. But, yeah, I think if the Doctor and Clara had some of that chemistry, bickering in a funny way, because they bickered, but it wasn't really funny, in my opinion. If he had written more like coupling, more of his real life into it, that could have made it better.
Bill and Peter had that. Bill and Peter had that.
Yeah.
Just because she didn't really bicker so much as she just kind of commented crossly about the situation, which made it hilarious because it was that sarcasm, what the Pope is here in my room, and she knows it's the Doctor's fault, and she's trying to have a date with this lovely girl, and it just keeps getting taco blocked because I don't know what the reference is that.
And it's getting more and more absurd. I mean, the absurd. So there definitely was comedy in that.
Oh yes.
Taco block.
Taco block. Yes. It's the.
It's basically a family-friendly way of saying something we're not going to say. Okay. You're listening to Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio.
I couldn't believe I just heard that. Sorry.
So here are a couple of ideas. I just did a search of nonfiction genres.
Okay, go for it.
And so some that stand out are lab reports and owner's manuals.
Lab report? I think Listen was a lab report.
God, that sounds like college. Ew, get out of here.
And college was main part of the last series.
Textbook. That's a genre.
Stop it.
It's funny, though. Some of the other ones are like biography and narrative or personal narratives, and it's like, well, Doctor Who could fit those.
Yeah, it could. It could. Well, biography, okay, let's do Vincent and the Doctor. Yes, it was embellished with an alien, but there were parts of it that were biographical to Van Gogh. So, yeah, biography fits as a genre.
I don't know if Doctor Who does biographical. Don't they do ethnographical better? Don't they speak about the culture of a person as opposed to their life?
Yeah.
And their culture and their, yes.
So oftentimes we get an ethnographical lens of characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Courtland, do you have something on that?
No, I mean, I think in terms of the broader picture, looking at the avoiding biographies and looking at how a person's life fits into the lived experience, I think that's easier both in terms of writing and being artistic. It also allows them to sort of tease out some of the drama, too. So that might be why they do that or why they're really good at it. But, I mean, if you just look at British drama throughout history, right, they love those, somebody, a person within a broader framework, and that might be, I think of Doctor Who more as a mythological genre or legend tales. And so I think that fits in with what you were saying, Ken.
Which is also very accurate, too, because there's certain worlds that when they speak of the Doctor, they speak of him as a, in a story fashion. Like there's this,
a mythological,
long hair.
A mythological.
Sure, yeah, but it's almost like if you were to be talking about the story of King Arthur,
right.
it's
right.
And then the Doctor in fact actually shows up, and everybody's like, oh, it's him. And I personally love that.
He's going to tell.
Perhaps we're watching these are our sacred scrolls of the life of the Doctor, and we're viewing them as entertainment, while other cultures view them as legend or myth.
Yeah,
I
like that.
And then the real fans realize it is real, and it is our legend and myth, and so that's why we all gather together in conventions, right?
Yeah,
no, it is absolutely real, because, I can tell you right now, I have mom brain. I'm a mom of 4, okay? And, so oftentimes I will go from my living room to my bedroom with the precise intent of doing something. I enter my bedroom immediately, forget. My rational thought as an adult woman is not, oh, man, I'm distracted, whatever. The immediate thought that comes to my mind is, there's a damn silence in here.
I like it wasn't just a silence, it was a damn silence.
No, I understand that fully. I have a 1-year-old, and every morning he likes to grab towards the shadows as I'm turning off lights outside, and I'm like, no, be careful. And
you don't want the Basharada to get you.
That's right.
Sunny. Oh, no.
No, it's absolutely real, because it's funny, though, because you get so into the stuff that, your brain immediately starts going through the Rolodex of options. And really, that's the first one that we grab for? A silence? We can't say that out loud. Put that in the back pocket. Let's try next logical option.
Iggy pointed out that we all think of the silence. Well, no, Iggy thought of that. That's Iggy's personal truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, going to conventions makes Doctor Who real, too. Because, when I'm doing a panel and I'm discussing the show, I'm discussing it as if I'm giving a lecture at school in a way sometimes. And I'm getting feedback from the audience as if I'm questioning my student. It's weird. Doctor Who, in a way, is real. Especially at convention.
Actually, Courtland and I were just talking about this. I can't remember the panel topic, but Court and I ended up on a panel about the nature of truth in a direction he and I did not expect, and we both got up and left. And it was, I think, a Doctor Who themed panel. This was a while ago. But the direction, people were so impassioned about the nature of truth and the genre, it meant so much to them that it got a little heated in there. So when people care that much, it's sometimes things get interesting in the room. And any of us who've done panels, we've all been on those panels where they go a direction we did not intend, and it happened, and we go, oh no, what do we do? And you do anything to, pardon the pun, break the silence when it happens. Because we care so much about this legend. We care so much about the myth of the Doctor, and that everybody in the room has a dog in the hunt. Our hearts are actually in this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, Doctor Who as legend, as myth. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and at this point, I'd like to take the opportunity to say that, there's always room for a healthy debate. But the one thing that disappoints me more than anything, because you mentioned you and Courtland walking out, what disappoints me more than anything is a mutual passion. Like, all of us love Doctor Who. And, why can't it be just a healthy adult debate? Why does it have to be, no, it's like this. This is my belief. This is my truth. This is my stance. And we cannot be open to the fact that there could be also other truths and other perspectives and versions of things. And so it's really the reason why when I host panels at conventions, I don't really bring a topic of, I guess, debate more so than just a discussion. Let's, try to keep it on path, because one thing that I've known for certain is that there's always going to be like, oh, outrage. No, that is wrong. And it's not wrong. It's an opinion. An opinion cannot be wrong because it's coming from the perspective and the emotional experience of someone else. Now, you can teach and change that opinion or not, but it's not like we're debating facts. So,
for a number of years, I was asked to lead 2 to 3 panels every night after 10 p.m. for Dragon Con for their British media track.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it the After Dark panels. And, of course, they wanted to go into the blue areas. But since it was after 10 p.m., I enjoyed having panels like Bad Wolf or Bad Rose. Was Rose Tyler the worst or best companion ever? Because walking in, knowing that it is going to be a conversation like that, it's actually amazing how civil the conversation turns out to be. Because people actually end up talking about what her attributes or as a character or things that they disliked. But walking in and saying this is a debate, should people do better? At least in the things that I have hosted, as opposed to something where the debate happens.
Yeah.
And perhaps the moderation on the panel, and like how Mark does an excellent job of moderating this program, keeps everything on track, keeps everybody for saying naughty things or fires being raised. So I think that's a credit to all of you that lead these panels. If you can keep them on track, you've done a wonderful job as a moderator by choosing a topic and by leading everybody onto the right path to not enrage everyone in the room.
He's enabling Mark again. He's enabling Mark again. That actually brings us full circle on this conversation, because we're running out of time on this. I do want to say, so we've decided that the one genre Doctor Who is not is musical theater. Is that what we decided?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Until it becomes that, right?
Until we have the episode. Until we have the episode.
It's musical teen drama is by far the worst thing it could ever become.
Well, no, but can there be like a Buffy episode or a Supergirl Flash crossover where there's one episode where it's all music, like they go to a planet where everybody sings opera, they don't talk, that their language is opera? Could they
That's
do
how
that?
you get the win this year.
There's a comic.
Don't give Chibnall ideas. Please don't give Chibnall ideas.
No.
Well, he says he wants to make the new series all about family.
Yeah.
And what all families love? Disney musicals.
Oh, Disney. And I know someone on this show who loves Disney musicals, too.
Oh, I know, I do.
But
that's in a certain, time and place. Doctor Who is different.
Well, we could have an episode of Doctor Who that's like Mary Poppins, can't we?
No.
Have Missy back and do Mary Poppins for real.
No, let's go ahead and make it a rap single, a wibbly wobbly what?
No, let's do Hamilton, Doctor Who Hamilton style.
Oh my God!
No.
That's a very historically accurate play too.
I love that play.
The time is alive with the sound of time.
That's the name of the episode, by the way. The hills are alive with the sound of time.
Yeah, I like
the
that.
TARDIS is alive with the sound of time.
All right. So that is about all the time we have for this. I want to thank the doctor for appearing with us, Dr. Courtland Lewis. Thank you, Court, for showing up on our show.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and
we'd love to
I
have
enjoyed
you
it
again. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Yeah.
And, of course, we also had on our show Zion Kiros, Trish Fryer, Iggy Matthews, Ken Spivey, and I think I had myself on the show, Mark Baumgarten. Did I miss anybody this time, or did I get it right in post-edit? Okay.
And scene.
And scene. When we come back, we'll have the convention report right after these messages. We'll be right back here on Mark Who 42.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
I did my Christmas shopping, and I got my girlfriend the Peter Capaldi crystal carving at DoctorWhoCrystals.com. And you should go there too. They've got official BBC licensed crystal carvings of all the doctors inside of a crystal carving of a TARDIS. They are actual crystal, and they are beautiful. They've got every doctor to choose from, and they're only $100. They're not that expensive. So do what I did and get your spouse happy by buying them a crystal carving from DoctorWhoCrystals.com. You know, I might buy the War Doctor one for myself.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Briggs, the voice of many monsters on Doctor Who, and executive producer of Big Finish Productions. And I'm pleased to announce that Mark Who 42 Books have joined forces with Big Finish to bring you Big Finish Audio.
There's this fella who calls himself the Doctor, and he says he has saved me, and we are in his time machine.
You all right? I think I've broken something. What about you?
Yes, I'm fine, thanks.
I rather think I broke your fall.
Oh, sorry.
Mark Who 42 Books will now offer to bring you the best in Big Finish audio.
But why are they here?
How do you do?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, no need to. I'm the Doctor, and this is...
I am Leela.
By all means, please do come out to play, Doctor. I'm waiting for you.
To find where Mark Who 42 Books will be, go to markwho42.net or on their Facebook site at Mark Who 42.
What are you saying? They fizzled in somehow? Like the TARDIS?
Yeah, transmat from another dimension. The TARDIS doesn't fizzle. It's more of a...
Also go to markwho42.net and download my interview with the team.
You're executive producer at Big Finish Productions.
Correct.
Correct.
Is this a quiz?
Mark Who 42, taking you to the WHOniverse and beyond.
Hi, this is Arlene Tour, the character Dr. Vera Juarez from Torchwood Miracle Day, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
We're back with more of Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and we've got Trish Fryer, we've got Iggy Matthews, we've got Ken Spivey, and we've got Zion Kiros. The whole team is here. I'm Mark Baumgarten, also your host here on Mark Who 42. I put the mark in Mark Who 42, and it's time for the convention report. We've got CalusaCon, comic and pop culture event. It's on Saturday, March 24th at Calusa Nature Center and Planetarium. It's in Fort Myers, Florida. The southwest coast of Florida gets another convention, and Mark Who 42 will be there. We're going to actually hold our Whovians Anonymous panel at that convention. My booth will be there, possibly for the last time. I don't know if I'm closing my booth because people still want to buy Doctor Who merchandise, but you should come out. It's going to be a great convention. It's not a guest convention. It's more of a fan convention. There are cosplayers, there'll be a costume contest, and there'll be some panels. And it's at a planetarium. So there's going to be a show in the planetarium. It's going to be real fun. So join us for that. And of course, the big one that we will be doing is MegaCon Orlando. MegaCon Orlando is May 24th through May 27th at the Orange County Convention Center. It's going to be a great convention. We've got people like Paul Rubens is a guest there, Jeff Goldblum, Catherine Tate, our Catherine Tate. We claim her. Doctor Who's Catherine Tate, Donna Noble will be there, and Mark Who 42 will be there. There are some great comic guests, Jim Lee, Andy Kubert, Scott Snyder. There are more guests that they haven't named yet, but if you like Dragon Ball Z, we've got some anime voices, Chris Sabat and Sean Schemmel. We've got people from Steven Universe coming, and there are a lot more. So come out to MegaCon Orlando on May 24th through 27th, 2018. But Iggy, you've got some more conventions to mention.
Yes, I will be bringing Mark Who 42 to Nashville, Tennessee at MTAC 18th Battalion Comic-Con, and that will be March 30th through April 1st. No, that's not a joke. It's really going to happen. So
April Fool's.
I'm going to be bringing Mark Who 42 and bringing some good discussions and topics, as well as my own personal achievement, Let's Be Reals, and I will be going live and live streaming from there. So I look forward to seeing all of you who are there, y'all. Become ground. I'm not good with this y'all thing. Y'all.
Y'all. Yeah, we that was a good discussion we had, wasn't it, guys?
Very much so.
That was fun.
It was very fun. I definitely want to have Court back, Dr.
Yes,
Lewis.
absolutely.
The doctor.
That was fun.
Now, we've had other doctors on the show, but this doctor was a real doctor. A real doctor. You say that to Sylvester, Paul, Colin, and Peter and see how bad they'll be at me.
What about Dr. Squee?
Dr. Squee as well. Oh, we had Dr. Squee too. Yeah, so we've had 6 doctors on the show.
Hasn't Dr. Begay been on here?
Oh, 7. How many other doctors have been on Mark Who 42? And why have I put them down by saying... So actually, that's right, Scott Begay, it was the first real doctor who has a doctorate, a PhD, and now you had Dr. Lewis.
Doctors. He's a double doctor.
He's a double doctor. Oh, if we had a triple doctor on this show, that would be great. We need a triple doctor. Anybody out there want to come on our show talking about Doctor Who? If you have 3 PhDs, contact us at mark@markwho42.net, and we'll have you on the show.
I have a PhD in smartass. Does that count?
That's 1, but you need 2 more. I said you need 3.
Oh, look at that. Upon further inspection, I also have a PhD in petty and temperamental. I qualify. What's up? Let's talk.
Okay, so talk Doctor Who. Go ahead. It's your floor.
Does that take a lot of student loans to get those?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm broke as a joke.
As a triple doctorate, you get to close the show, Iggy, so take it away.
Well, as we all know, Mark puts the mark in Mark Who 42, but he also puts the bum in Bum Garden. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, but we're taking that back. I think you've just lost your doctorates.
Well, there's one.
Any last words from anybody here on the show? Ken, you have anything you want to add?
It was a lovely second show with everybody. I wanted to thank you all for having me on today.
All right, well, we love having you as part of the team. Zion.
Adric is not as bad as people say he is.
Okay, that's
yes,
your opinion, and I'm not going to say
yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Bad.
No, he is not.
Yes.
We had a discussion. We were texting each other, and you admitted to some of my reasoning, even though you said you like Adric.
Some.
And here's the thing.
I really like Adric.
Okay, Adric has a badge of mathematical excellence, right? But he's from Alzarius. This badge of mathematical excellence could be that he knows how to count to 100 and no one else on the planet, the people that are on the spaceship, know. It doesn't mean he knows calculus and block transfer computation. I think he only learned block transfer computation when the master hypnotized him and made him under his control. But that's where he got his mathematical excellence. I don't think before that, maybe he had a badge of mathematical excellence in algebra.
I don't think that's really a badge. I think he got that at Bell's or something. That's not even a real badge.
It's not a badge. I got a badge in a spelling bee of excellence. Does that mean I'm the best speller?
Yes, you are.
I'm a genius in spelling? No, because I can't even spell rumor without the U. I mean, really.
Before, after, it doesn't matter. All I know is that the man got the square root of like 3.75 out of thin air when the doctor asked him for it right away. And this was a very dire situation.
So he did anybody actually check to see if he got it right? Because they could have just wrote any number down and you're right, Patrick. This is a drama. So
oh my God! Nobody checked it because nobody likes math.
I want fact-checking my Doctor Who.
You know what most people do when there's mathematics involved?
What do people do with mathematics?
What most people do with mathematics, okay, like right now, if I were to do it, like, be like, oh, what is this equation? And Zion just spits out a huge answer, I'm not going to check it because I hate math. Okay, it's not that I can't do it. I just despise it. I'm going to be like, you know what, Zion seems legit. I'm going to put that down.
I don't think Matthew Waterhouse can get a B in college calculus like I did. Trish, any final words?
Yes.
No.
No?
No.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't we see some? I think we saw something that they announced that October is when Doctor Who's coming out.
They listed that too when it was too late. October.
Yeah. ...
possibly. That's the quote that I've seen floating around the internet about Doctor Who coming
Well, no, it was a picture. It was a picture at a con that Jodie Whittaker was at.
Right.
And it was a picture of her, as 13, and then if you zoomed in, it's on the picture, it said coming in October 2018.
Well, we'll see. I still kind of think August is where it's going. Iggy, final word?
You wish.
I already had my final words, sir.
I know you had your final words. I'll give you your final words.
Oh, okay, then I'll just steal it. Half the hardest will travel.
You did steal my final words. Bye, everyone. Come back next time for more of Mark Who 42. Mark Who 42 has been written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Iggy Matthews, Ken Spivey, Zion Kiros, and Trish Helm Fryer. This episode was edited, directed, and produced by Mark Baumgarten. Visit markwho42.net, where you can register and become part of the WHOniverse Army. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42, subject line, ? You can have Mark Who 42 entertain at your next event or convention. Go to heroesonhand.com/markwho42. Space Coast Comics is a free monthly magazine found in over 120 locations currently throughout Brevard County, parts of Osceola, Volusia, and Indian River County in Florida, and available in Chicago. Follow them on Facebook to learn more. Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. Mark Who 42 is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten 2018. This is Krypton Radio.